Hey, beautiful souls, welcome back. It's Rose, and I have to tell you, before I even touched the deck today, I felt a shift in the room. This isn't one of those light, maybe they like you pulls. This is heavy. This is certain. So settle in, get comfortable, maybe grab something warm to drink, because what's coming through today is layered, and I don't want to rush through any of it. Some of you have been carrying these questions for weeks, maybe months, and today the cards are finally ready to answer them. Before we begin, take a breath in with me. Hold it for a second. Let it go slowly. If you felt pulled to click on this today, that pull was not random. Trust that your energy brought you here for a reason. Let's shuffle and see what wants to come forward. The first thing I'm sensing is decisiveness. Not confusion, not maybe, decided. Somewhere in this person's mind, they've already placed you in a category no one else occupies. They know what they want. What they haven't figured out is how to say it without everything changing. And that distinction matters because a lot of you have been mistaking their carefulness for a lack of feeling, when really it's the opposite. The feeling is so strong that they're being unusually careful with it. I'm being shown someone who lives with eyes on them. Not necessarily famous in the way we usually think of it, but known. Respected in their circle. People notice when they walk into a room. There's a kind of visibility here. Maybe it's their work. Maybe it's a role they hold. Maybe it's simply the energy they carry. But wherever they go, attention follows them without them asking for it. This visibility isn't always a gift for them. Sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes it means they can never fully relax around new people because they're always wondering what someone wants from them. And yet, out of every person competing for a piece of their time, I keep hearing the same three words surface again and again. It's always her, or it's always him. Whatever the noise around them looks like, their mind keeps circling back to one person, you. I want you to really sit with that for a second because I know some of you have been telling yourselves you're reading too much into small moments. The cards are telling me you're not. This wasn't gradual for them either. I'm picking up on something sudden, a moment where their usual composure slipped. This is someone who's normally very good at staying guarded, controlled, the type who doesn't let people see too much, who has practiced keeping their face calm even when something inside them is reacting strongly. But something about you cracked that composure. I'm hearing about a racing pulse, a kind of nervous energy they're not used to feeling, restlessness that shows up when too much time passes without hearing from you. For someone who prides themselves on being unaffected, that loss of control was almost unsettling to them, in a good way. For some of you, this connection has already crossed into your physical world. You've met, you've spoken, there's history between you already. For others, I feel it's still approaching, closer than you think, maybe closer than feels believable right now. Either way, I keep being shown a screen as part of this story, a message, a notification, some form of digital thread weaving the two of you together. Pay attention to who starts appearing more frequently in your notifications over the next little while, because I don't think this stays quiet for long. Now, here's something I want to sit with for a moment, because it's important and I don't want to rush past it. What's drawing them in isn't your appearance, and it isn't even really about chemistry in the surface level sense, although that's there too. I keep being shown your character, the way you treat people who can't do anything for you, the way you speak to someone serving your table, or the patience you show a stranger, or the honesty you keep even when a small lie would be easier. The version of you that exists when no one important is watching. That is what caught their attention and refused to let go. This wasn't luck, and it wasn't a passing attraction. The deeper they observed who you actually are, the harder it became for them to stay indifferent. Let's go backward for a second, because their past explains a lot about their present hesitation, and I think this part is going to bring a lot of clarity for you. I'm shown an earlier connection that took more than it gave. Someone who wanted proximity to this person's success, their reputation, their access, but didn't actually want them, not really, not underneath all of that. I keep hearing words like used and performed for. That relationship taught this person to be careful, to ask silently, with almost everyone new, do they want me? Or do they want what comes with me? That question sits behind their eyes with nearly everyone they meet now. It's become a kind of reflex, a filter they can't quite turn off even when they wish they could. But here's the thing, that question goes quiet around you. I'm shown a specific moment, maybe a gathering, maybe an exchange online, where their guard was fully up around everyone else in the space, and then dropped instantly the second you were near. It caught them off guard, genuinely. I keep hearing, she's not performing for me, or he's not trying to get something out of this. That registered on a level they haven't been able to shake since, and I don't think they've fully explained that feeling to themselves yet, let alone to you. There's also an older influence here, a parent, a mentor, maybe an older sibling, someone who told them early on to be careful who gets close once they had something worth protecting. That warning is part of why this hasn't moved fast. Even with the pull being this intense, they're quietly running you through every filter that past experience built into them. And I keep seeing you pass every single time without even knowing you were being tested. Now let's talk about the calculation happening on their end, because there is one, and I think understanding it will help you stop taking the slowness so personally. This isn't someone who moves on impulse, even when the attraction is undeniable. Being visible means anything they do gets watched, discussed, judged by people who have no real stake in it and no right to an opinion. I'm hearing an internal weighing, if I choose this person publicly, it becomes everyone's conversation. That's a real cost for them, and I feel them taking it seriously before stepping forward, not because they're unsure of you, but because they're protective of what's forming. Underneath that calculation sits fear, plain and simple. What if I open this up and it turns out they only wanted the idea of me? I'm shown messages typed and deleted before they're sent. A call started, then ended before it connects. Hesitation right at the threshold of contact, over and over. But here's what tips the scale every single time I look at this. I keep seeing them decide you're worth the risk anyway. She's worth people talking. He's worth the noise. The pull outweighs the caution every time it's tested. There's also a timeline attached to all of this that I think will be helpful for you to know. I'm shown something wrapping up on their end, a project, a season of responsibility, a deadline that's been eating their hours and their focus. Once that clears, their attention redirects fully and noticeably. I keep hearing, once this is done, I'm reaching out properly. Watch the weeks right after something big finishes in their world, because that's when things shift in a way you'll actually be able to feel. I also want to speak to something that might explain recent silence if you've felt it, because I don't want you sitting in unnecessary worry. If contact has gone quiet, I'm not shown withdrawal, I'm shown overload. Obligations pulling from every direction, more people needing pieces of their time than they can reasonably give in a day. I keep hearing, I think about them constantly, even when I can't reply right away. Give the quiet a little more room before reading it as a closed door, because that's not what this is, and I don't want you to talk yourself out of something real because of a slow reply. Something else came through strongly, a moment of outside pressure, and I think this is important context. Someone in their circle tried to steer their attention elsewhere, introduced options, arranged situations designed to make them consider someone else, someone who might look like a simpler, more convenient public match on paper. For a beat, I'm shown them almost going along with it, out of politeness or out of a tiredness with resisting the people around them. And then, right in the middle of that moment, your name crossed their mind uninvited. Everyone else fell flat by comparison instantly. That's the moment the pressure lost, and I feel it was decisive for them. If anything felt strange or tense recently, a rumor, a mixed signal, something that didn't match the energy you felt from them directly, that's likely the residue of that pressure, not a reflection of how they actually feel about you. Don't let secondhand noise outweigh what you've experienced firsthand. I want to address the doubt sitting on both sides of this, because I feel it clearly, and I think naming it will help release some of its weight. On your end, why would they choose me out of everyone around them? On their end, what if they only want this because of what I represent or what I can offer them? Neither of you is imagining this connection. Both of you are protecting yourselves from a rejection that hasn't actually happened and probably isn't going to. Here's where this is heading, and this is the part I've been looking forward to sharing with you. I'm shown an eventual reveal, not hidden forever, not something kept out of shame, but a connection that steps into the open deliberately, on their timing, done with intention rather than pushed into the light before it's ready. I keep hearing, I want people to know this is mine to protect. Watch for a message that reads differently than usual, more direct, more certain, less careful than what you've grown used to. I'm also shown a gesture coming, something thoughtful and specific to you, chosen with care rather than something generic picked at the last minute. Long term, this doesn't read as a fling. It reads as partnership, something built over time, not just felt in a passing moment. There's a phrase I keep hearing repeated almost word for word on their side. I've never wanted to claim someone like this before. However it eventually reaches you, whether in those exact words or their own version of it, the sentiment behind it is already forming, and I don't think it stays unspoken for much longer. Before we close, I want to remind you of something. None of this is about waiting passively or putting your life on hold. Continue living fully. Continue growing. Continue being exactly who you are, because that is the very thing that drew them in to begin with. Don't shrink yourself while you wait for someone else's timing to catch up to your own certainty. Thank you for sitting with this reading today and for giving it your full attention. If any part of it resonated, let it settle before you rush to explain it away, or before you rush to share it with someone else to get their opinion. Trust what you already sensed long before I said a single word today. This is Rose, sending you light, sending you patience, and sending you clarity. I'll see you in the next reading.